Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Terrance Shaheed, back with another video. Today, I want to touch on, in my opinion, the top uh, Greek misconceptions and myths that non-Greeks tend to have as far as Greekdom and Greek life in general. So I did a little bit of research and kind of compiled a little list of my own based on the kind of ones either I've heard commonly or those that I've seen people on social media talk about, and I kind of want to make this video to kind of dispel and kind of clear up some of those myths and misconceptions. Starting with the first one, Greeks are a gang. Now, I'm not sure how this one came about, but oftentimes, given that each organization, we wear certain colors depending on the organization. We, have certain hand signs, so I can almost see how that will come about. However, Greek letter organizations do not engage in any illicit or otherwise illegal activities. We don't gang bang like Bloods and Crips would, or the Vice Lords, Latin Kings, etc. We're not hanging at the corners all late at night, hustling, selling dope or anything like that. So no, Greek organizations are not gangs. Um, Next one. Greek life is just like in the movies you might have seen, like School Days, Burning Sand, Stomp the Yard, or whatever. Um, a lot of times, if you have seen those movies, they're only depicting a small tidbit of what might go on as far as Greek letter orgs on campus, but that is not the entirety of it. You know, um, a lot of orgs on college campuses, they do a lot of community service. They might, put on step shows and strolling competitions. Might have like different mixtures and socials and whatnot. But that is only what you see in those movies. They're only depicting a small tidbit of what actually goes on. There's a lot behind. Aside from all that, there's a lot more that goes on. There is oftentimes a lot of work that's put into hosting conventions or doing community service off campus or in the community in general. Not to mention, when it comes to NPHC events like that too is also a great deal of work in and of itself. So I get why some people believe that all the Greek letter organizations do is like party, step, and stroll, but that is only the small fun part of it all. Not saying that it's not fun being Greek in general, but that's the stuff you see in those movies like that. Kind of, it's only focusing on a certain aspect of Greek life in general. Okay. Next one. Greek organizations are some kind of secret society or have their own religion where they worship different deities or whatnot. I can personally speak for myself. I've been an Alpha for nearly 2 years now, and not once did I ever, you know, worship some kind of deity based out of my own organization. Nor have I ever really heard any, kind of situation in any other organization going on. Yeah, there are like certain animals and whatnot that we base our some motifs of, such as alphas. We base ours on the apes and great sphinx of Giza, but that has no bearing on our choice of worship. Most D9 fam that I know that I'm cool with are mostly Christian. They don't worship their chosen religion deity, all the while somehow serving some other deity in Greek life. It's not what it's about. Each of the org's founders never intended to have anyone worship the org or worship any deities in the org. Okay. Next one. Being Greek makes you popular. Now, this one tends to hold some validity on college campuses. Yeah, because everyone's been to a probate show or two, and you see different orgs bringing in the neophyte, doing the neophyte presentations and probates and whatnot, and the newly initiated members they get to kind of put on a show for everybody to kind of let everybody know, hey, we're the new members, and they'll do like, certain moves and whatnot, give like a little bit of a performance, during the presentation or probate to kind of, give a little spectacle, to kind of make it fun, for the campus to know, like, this is who they are. They about to be on the yard, so get to know them. So, but based on, and this holds true because being Greek does not make you popular. If you were, that quiet, geeky, anime loving person before you got letters, chances are you're going to be that same person, just with letters. You're going to be part of a Greek organization. You're still going to be that person. If you were, how they say, like, if you were lame before you got letters, you're going to be a lame after letters. Now that holds true because, some people feel that, they can join these orgs and they be, next thing you know, once they get the letters, they just be feeling themselves and thinking that, I'm such and such now, like I'm about to get all the girls, I'm about to get all the dudes, I'm just about to be litty all the time because I got, repping this org, so people gonna know who I am. That's not really the case at all. For one thing, you shouldn't really try to join a Greek letter organization in the hopes of becoming more popular. If anything, if that's one of the main reasons you shouldn't join, because Greek letter organization is not about being a popularity contest. It's about upholding the missions and objectives of the respective organizations that you choose to join, and putting in the work and the time and energy it takes to be an active member in that org. Good. Next one. The fraternity, sorority, beef, and pettiness that goes on. Yeah, if you might see on social media, like, you might have different orgs bicker. AK might be beefing with a Delta, or Sigma might be beefing with an Iota, Alpha might be beefing with a Kappa or a Q, or so on and so forth. Now, I can't say this doesn't exactly go on, but, that doesn't necessarily reflect that kind of beef on a general level. It's more so just, you just happen to have a person who happens to be in this particular org, going back and forth with another person who just happens to be in this particular org, and they taking shots and throwing jabs about each other's orgs. Oh, my org was founded before yours, or yeah, but your org ain't got nothing on ours because we put in like X amount of hours to be who we are now. So it's to be taken like with a grain of salt. Personally speaking, I don't feel like, which org was founded when, or, what org does this is all that important. It's because as different as each of the Divine Nine orgs are, we all have a common purpose. Yeah, our letters may be different, our colors may be different, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to promote, to some level, scholarship. We're trying to promote community service and advocacy for communities. We're trying to, promote unity among everyone, especially people of color, because, given that, how these orgs were founded, if you do a little history, you'll see, the purpose and the motives behind why each of these orgs were founded. Each of them had a common theme. And, given the time period that they were all founded in, which is pretty much from the beginning, the early 1900s, all the way to the mid 1900s. It was all about trying to promote unity, awareness, and advancing our people as a whole on a grand scale. Okay. Next one. People who join Greek organizations pay for their friends. Now this one is almost kind of a pet peeve because, I hear this like a lot, especially on social media sometimes, where you have people, you have non-Greeks that, might say something like, oh, y'all join this organization to pay for friends or whatnot. Well, this is one I'm all too, enthused to kind of clear up. As I mentioned before, I've been an Alpha for nearly 2 years now. And, I pay dues and I'm active in whatever chapter I may be in, as far as like whatever city I might be in. And when I first, when I joined, paid the fees and whatnot. Nowhere on the affidavit, on the receipt, did it say that I was paying to make friends with anybody. A lot of the money went to the grand tax, which is kind of helps pay for things like insurance and conventions and whatnot, and so on and so forth. But some of the money went towards my blazer that you get if you join organizations depending on the org, you'll likely get a blazer or a line jacket, and that those things aren't exactly cheap. Among other little things too, so I won't go into detail, but nowhere in the point being is that none of that stuff went towards making a friend. You make friends in this organization. It's easier to kind of build relationships with people just because you might find somebody who's in the same organization as you, and that'd be an easy starting point because at least if anything you both have at least one thing in common. But that doesn't mean you're paying to have that happen. You make friends on your own accord, whether you are in a Greek letter organization or otherwise. It's all about, how you approach a person, your character. Do you guys vibe? Do you click to escalate to that level to, build a friendship on, And, all too many times when I've heard people say, oh, y'all pay for your friends or you pay to get jumped into or just have friends. That's not even the case at all. Like I said, it's, if anything, it just helps you network and build relationships with people. But as far as making friends, that falls entirely on the individual themselves. You don't have to, I never once had to pay for a friend at all. All right. Next one. All the Greeks do is to party and whatnot. Now, it's kind of falls back into an earlier point I was making about, Greek life is kind of like how in the movies, because a lot of times when you see school days, stomp the yard and burning sands, you depict, or you mainly just see them, if they're not pledging, they're throwing parties or whatnot. Now, to an extent, I feel like that's kind of overblown. It's like I said earlier, that's only the movies like that are only depicting a small tidbit of what Greek life actually entails. So yeah, you have orgs that put on events, some are parties and step shows, but it doesn't happen 24/7. Like I said, a lot of times aside from that, there's often meetings, there's community service, advocating, there's mentorship, depending on the chapter of the respective organization. So it's not always a 24/7 party. People I don't see where they get that from. Maybe it's because that might stem from people who every weekend they're done with classes or they get off work and they might hear of a party going on, and so they might gravitate towards that. And, might have just associated that with that some organizations on campus or in the community throw a mix or a get together or a social or whatnot. But it's not a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week party, And lastly, and this one is actually my favorite, Greeks are stuck up. Now, I'm not gonna say every single Greek doesn't have some kind of conceitedness to them, because being part of a Greek letter organization, you're gonna come across some people who just have that demeanor or that attitude that my ish don't stink, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every single person who belongs to a Greek letter organization is somehow arrogant, conceited, give this impression that they see everybody as beneath them. And I have a little metaphor philosophy for this particular subject. Being a part of a Greek letter organization either does one of two things. One, it either enhances you, and what I mean by that is, once you join one of these organizations, you're going to step into a world that is a lot of networking, a lot of meetings, a lot of socialization, a lot of you know connection building. Now, if you're the type that you're on your P's and Q's, you manage your time efficiently. You like to you enjoy meeting new people and building connections that might possibly get you to where you want to be career-wise or whatnot. Then being a part of a group-led organization is going to build upon it. It's going to teach you how to be more efficient in things like time management, socialization, building connections, networking, etc. Now, it can either do that, or the second one is it reveals the type of person you truly were even before you got letters. So say, for example, like earlier when I mentioned if you were lame before joining a Greek-led organization, you're still going to be one. This is kind of the same thing. Now, once people, like I said before, there's some people who get into the organization and they feel, like I said, like they feel like, these letters somehow a license to kind of flaunt, just straight up feel themselves and like kind of just like, look at, kind of like give off the impression that, they're somehow better than, most everybody around them. That's and to me personally, that just shows like, if they were doing this, now that they got some letters on, that just means that low key they were already that type of person before they joined this organization, before they became, before they earned those letters. Because joining a Greek-led organization is supposed to change you for the worse. It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to bring out the character or enhance the character that you already had, the characteristics you already had before joining. So if you come across someone and you think that, oh well, they just act like that because they outspoken because they're a Delta, or they think that it's because they're Alpha or they're Kappa or whatnot. It's not because because they joined the organization. It's because once they joined, they feel like that those letters gave them somehow a license to just be more confident in who they already were. That's all it really boils down to. So like I said, it either enhances you or it reveals the type of person you truly were before joining the organization itself. All right. So that's pretty much my take on my top misconceptions about Greek life and being a part of a Greek-led organization. So if you like this video, make sure to like if you want to see more. If you want to get notified when I drop another video, hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell next to it. Next time I drop one, you'll get a little notification on your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever. And I'll be sure to try to make, keep in touch. If you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter and Instagram will be included in the description below. So that being said, all right, peoples. All right, you take care. I'll see you next time. Peace.